Greetings and welcome to TFT Tarot for Today, Divine Dabblings with Oberon and Banshee. This is me, Oberon, with my show, Goth Tarot. And it is a weekly look into the more somber side of life. It's for those who feel there are oppressions, shadowy issues in their lives, things that bring them sadness, or perhaps some of those within that darkness find comfort and power even. So to do this reading, I pull a number of cards from several decks and I try to discern what some of these philosophies, issues, or trends are in the Gothic experience. So I use the Crow's Magic Tarot, the Gothic Tarot, and the Night Sun Tarot. But recently, I've been thinking of switching to some new decks. I've acquired some new decks. I like some different things I'm seeing that speak to me with their goth images. So don't be surprised if I tweak the overall reading as well as the decks I use. We experienced some of this during October when I had additional cards to pull for each week for my reading, and I used other decks like the Deviant Moon Tarot or the Ghost Tarot. So this will be something like that, but it'll be more or less a new format for Goth Tarot. So I'm about to get ready with the reading. I'm just going to give the last deck a little shuffle through. All right. So the first card is pulled from the Crow's Magic Tarot, and it represents your dark gift. It's about the insights or wisdoms, the general impressions of your dark philosophies, or what those philosophies actually are. Whether or not you might feel these are revelations, how you appreciate them, and how you could possibly share them with others. The dark gift is the Eight of Cups. It's upright. I think what you appreciate, perhaps in a darker way, is the ability to leave something behind, to leave it perhaps completely and utterly behind, and to pull ahead into the next endeavor. I think it's important for you to sort of have, at times, maybe less loyalty for what's not working. So I think that when you examine the facts around you, what things make you feel like, who's your monster baby, that kind of thing, I think it's clear you should move on. You should use your wisdom and insight to move somewhere else. Maybe it's not a physical move, though I won't rule that out. Maybe you should just move to another social scene, another work scene, another romance scene. Maybe it's time to really consider what you need to leave behind for a better tomorrow. So then our next cards are drawn from the Gothic Tarot. And these represent the dark struggles. There's two of them, cards 2 and 3. These are the challenges or limitations that you face. And how will you learn from these? Are they lessons? Will they give you any kind of insights? Are they just burdens? What can you learn from these things? These dark struggles. The Knight of Pentacles, it's upright. Just put that there. And then also the Star, and that's upright. Well, the Knights are generally comings or goings of things, and of course, because I want to apply it to this reading, it may be that you struggle with finding your way in the material world, with being able to affect your plans to create some peace or prosperity or security for yourself. So then why is the Star a dark struggle? Why is it a challenge to you? I suppose I would have to say that you really are drawn to feeling you have a great destiny, perhaps beyond your circumstance, beyond others you know, beyond others you work with, you care about. And I think the struggle in that is that it maybe is limiting this perspective of how you need to try to master and move towards the financial areas, the material and security areas that you need to work on. So the struggle is that you've overly excited yourself about perhaps what you feel you deserve as your destiny. And you may have to really scale back what you can honestly expect to achieve here. So now we move to the final three cards. You will note that we used one deck for one card, a second deck for two cards, and then a third deck for three cards. So although I'm not able to display that, I want you to think of this as a magic star, perhaps two different triangles, two different pillars. If you want to look at it as a pillar, that's fine. I'm not sure how I'm going to change the structure of the reading when I do that, but I am considering either adding more cards or altering how they're spread in some way. Anyways, let me focus here on the Dark Truth, card number 4. The dark truth represents a reality that you may find oppressive, yet we would hope you can still achieve something from that, some realization. It's justice reversed. You're very inclined to maybe misunderstand or misjudge certain things. It's possible too that you find life to be unfair to you. So this is carrying a heavy oppression to you. But I want you to consider what I said a moment ago, to consider this also maybe more like the idea that you're not quite understanding where these principles lie in your life, perhaps. You're not understanding procedural things. I'm thinking of justice in the more procedural sense, flow and outcome. I don't want to totally avoid the idea of fairness or equity or equality, but I think you're burdened by maybe a sense of a bureaucracy here that's working against you. So then card 5 is the dark sacrifice and tends to represent sorrows, things that you must bear or give up for a greater relief in some way, a greater cause. And curiously, it's judgment. We had justice, now we have judgment. Only judgment is upright. Perhaps it's saying that from some cosmic intuitive sense, you're going to really understand where some of these sacrifices are coming in, what you hope for as your destiny, but what your reality really is or your struggle really is. And so with the sacrifice, maybe you have to accept somebody else's verdict in the matter. Maybe you have to go with what somebody with agency is indicating has to be. And so, in that sense, it is a sacrifice depending on what your principles really were calling you to do. I think it's a turning point. And I think it represents the idea, too, that you may have to change really what your relationship is or what you feel it is with more divine or spiritual aspects. It may be you need to go in a little bit deeper to see what messages Spirit is trying to give you. All right, then finally, we're moving to the last card, card 6, the dark. So then finally, card 6, the dark redemption, the final realization and what you could hope to learn from it. And it's the moon upright. And I think this card says you're not going to be able to have that realization, that to some degree there's a sense of things being mysterious. It's not impossible that you could figure this out, but I feel like the moon's influence here is sort of shadowing, hiding, obscuring ideas that you might need to understand. And it may be overall, I think it could just be saying that this is a cycle thing, that what you learn will be ongoing. Because when you look, it's really just about the same when you turn it upside down. It's very much the same. The moon, I think, represents that eternal struggle for you in the sense of a redemption, that it goes on, the work goes on, and that there's always something new you have to realize along the chain of justice and judgment and destiny and changing directions and understanding what makes you secure. The moon can add light to that, but it can also hide that. So understanding the moon's flow is that final realization that things can always change. And that also, too, being intuitive, very intuitive. So that's it for Goth Tarot. And as I mentioned, don't forget to watch in the future to see some changes with the decks I'm using and the formats of the reading. Have a very happy Thanksgiving. It's kind of a crazy time right now. and I think we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.